every Thursdays from 5 to 6 p.m. on DMRTV, where we raise awareness about gender-based violence, we promote best practice, and also talked about possibilities on how best to handle cases of gender-based violence. It is a program for women. It is a program about women, but not just for women. So you who is a gentleman, do not move a muscle. Stay tuned, watch, get inspired, and also join the He for She campaign so that together we can fight GBV. Let us have this short transition. I'm going to introduce to you today's talking point and the guest of today. It's all about. I am joined on set by a gender expert or an activist who has been putting all her strength and her know-how in her society in every form to end all forms of gender-based violence. I am joined today on set by Saline Dape, somebody whom you have seen with me here on set. We'll be discussing or sharing with you what is the 16 days against gender-based violence. Let us have this short transition. We'll be right back where I'm going to introduce you to today's guest. Back, dear TV friend, like I did introduce to you, I am joined on set by a gender expert who also works with the civil society, who has been putting hands on deck to put an end or to curb all forms of GBV. I am talking of Saline Dape, who together will be discussing today with you more on the 16 days activism against gender-based violence, what it is all about, what are the constituents, and what does this activism seek to achieve. Greetings to you, Sally, and thanks for joining us on set this evening.
Good evening. Happy to be here again.
Yeah, we're glad to have you as well.
Everyone.
Okay.
And we thank everybody that is fine doing well. I hope all the viewers out there are doing great.
Sure, they are doing great. And we just want to thank you for squeezing out your busy schedule to share with us on set today. So, Sally, we just want to find out what is this 16 days activism all about?
The 16 days activism is a call, as the team said this year, that unite activism to end violence against women and girls. So it's a way of sensitization and to eliminate all forms of violence that are being done to young girls and women, not leaving the men also behind. That's why we use the team. The secretary, the UN secretary, declared this year team unite activism to end violence done on young women and girls.
All right. So the 16 days activism is actually a campaign where the world comes together, especially gender experts, civil society organizations, governments, and other stakeholders. They unite to come together under one canopy for these 16 days to denounce or to combat all forms of gender-based violence. Now we have understanding of what 16 days activism is. But now, Sally, I want to understand these 16 days, are there some specific activities that are outlined to mark these 16 days?
Yes, during the 16 days, we have so much activities that are aligned. We mobilize women, we sensitize the young girls, we sensitize also the children, and we also talk to men. Because we have noticed that during all this while, we have been sensitizing, educating communities, but the same cases keep happening. Okay. The consequences of GBV keep multiplying. Even though we do our need assessment in host communities, we see that it seems as if we're not doing anything, whereas we are working. So this time we need inclusion. We need to include the men in all our GBV talks, so that they will understand what is GBV all about, what is all about the 16 days, as I see me putting on an orange t-shirt, written the 16 days activism that we launched it here in Boya with UNFPA organization. That's our main organization, on the 25th of November, and that will run till the 10th of December, which is the International Day of Human Rights.
Yeah.
Which
the 25th of November is the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women.
Yes.
And then that is the 25th, and then it ends on the 10th of December, which is the International Human Rights Day. Two great days.
Yes.
So
and not leaving behind, please, that on the 28th we had to celebrate the International Day of Human Rights Women.
Okay, human rights defenders, human rights women defenders. Yes, on the 28th of November.
Yes.
Exactly. So we'll come to that, Sally. And now, just for the sake of those who have not watched our previous editions where we've talked about gender-based violence, so when we talk about gender-based violence, what particularly are we referring to?
When we talk of gender-based violence, gender is not a specific especially gender, as we always say, gender, it means female and male. Because there is a difference, and what brings us that difference, that a woman have a vagina and a man have a penis. A woman have breasts, whereas a man doesn't have breasts. So all those is gender. Gender is not limited to a female or limited to a male. Both are genders, but looking into it, that there are several types of power, like power with and power onto and power to, because we discover, if you see like a female and a male, when a male will usually talk, but not as a female. And us female, we have our mouth, but we don't have the power. But with a man, there is that power of dominance that you always use on you. No matter that, our culture will always tell us that a man have the power, you must obey a woman, you must obey a man. And if we look our cultural heritage, always tell us that as a man, you have the last say in the family. As a man, if you don't have a male child, you are not a man. You cannot sit among your peers. You cannot talk when others are talking, because they'll say you are a weak man. So you don't have a say, even in the family. That is part of GBV. Okay. Yes, in community. And in society community, when you will see that in your house, your wife maybe want to give a point, they'll say, no, a woman doesn't need to partake in decision making, which we see that it is not correct. All these are gender-based violence.
Okay, the violations to persons' rights to maybe decision making, to having their maybe to have their voices heard. So now, before this 16 days activism against GBV, you've just enumerated some of these forms of GBV, but I want you to elaborate what do we consider as violations as a gender-based violence, a distribution of unequal distribution of power, and I want to throw more light on GBV on its own. Then we'll come back to the 16 days so that those who have not watched us previously can understand what we are referring to as gender-based violence. Can you just give us the different forms?
The different forms of gender-based violence, we have domestic violence, we have early child marriage, we have rape, and we have so many consequences.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. We have child abuse. We have rape. We have
early marriage.
We have physical abuse. Emotional abuse, psychological abuse on both sexes, not particularly.
On both sexes. It's not a particular sex. On both genders.
On both genders right now. All right, thank you so much. So now this 16 days is dedicated to fight against or to raise awareness against these all forms of GBV. Can you just share with us what are some of the activities carried out within these 16 days?
Within these 16 days, we have so many activities. The subdivision of Boya just launched its own 16 days. That was yesterday. So this week, and Limbe did that Tuesday. On these 16 days, we do volunteerism, we do advocacy on social media, as you can see me now. We do join in global citizenship, in journey on action. We donate to organizations supporting survivors, not to let them down. We take action. We say they take action with us. We spot the signs of GBV and know how to help. We educate communities. We make workshops to build capacities on GBV. We raise awareness also in community in remote area, because why in remote area? Because we have during this ongoing Cameroon Anglophone crisis, we have noticed women are not elaborated or empowered or educated on gender-based violence. So that is why we say let us go to remote areas to educate and sensitize the community all about GBV and its consequences, so that nobody should be left behind. So during the community talk also, we not limit ourselves also in schools where we educate children on their right to avoid child abuse, child labor, early marriage, so that everybody voice count in GBV. And again, we go in community, we mobilize men so that they should really know what a real man is, because it's only a coward man that will rape a child. Real men don't rape children. Yes, you don't. A real man don't rape a child. Only cowards do. Yes, I will also pass information to school. We say we need a pen, not a penis. And we say don't touch a girl breast, please. We should educate our children. And we say men voice also count to eliminate at least some certain violence that is ongoing home.
At home.
Yes, at home. We have so many. I'm a child, not a wife.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We will definitely come to that. Thank you so much for sharing with us on that. The different activities which obtain on these 16 days. We have seminars. You have awareness raising campaigns. You have both in urban areas and in communities. You meet these women and discuss with them, including men, and also encourage the men to join their voices to women to end GBV. And like you did say, I don't know, at the level, is this together with, we have a lot of civil society that come together to for these 16 days activism. Is there some sort of do they synchronize their efforts, or do they synchronize their efforts within this period? Okay, right. If they do so, then how do they factor, let's say, awareness raising is on different day, discussing with the women is on another day. So how do this CSO come together? How effectively is their coordination with regards to the series of these activities?
Okay, during these 16 days, as we started yesterday, in the subdivision of Boya, all the CSOs and founder of organization have come together. Okay. We had a march on the 16 days, starting from Bokwango, class quarter, and we ended at OIC and My 16, where we even had a severe GBV case to attend there in My 16. On the second day, today, we went to Munya Market to sensitize awareness campaign to talk on the buy and sell, because we discovered that these women don't have time to sit home, they don't have time to watch TV, they don't have time to listen to radio programs. So it's only meeting them on set and telling them what is all about GBV. Like tomorrow we'll be going to schools to also tell them what is gender-based violence all about in colleges, higher institutions, to tell them everything about GBV. Next week we'll be joining Boyar and Tico to join hands together, talk to communities, and also with men inclusiveness. Yes, it's not only women this time. We need to include men in GBV so that they will understand what is gender-based violence.
All right, thank you so much. That is why there is a He for She campaign. If you're just tuning in, dear TV friend, you're watching Women's Voice on Divine Mercy Radio Television. It is a program where we raise awareness about GBV cases, we promote best practice, and also give proposals on how best to handle situations of GBV, that is gender-based violence. On today's edition of the show, we are looking at 16 days activism against gender-based violence. We've had an understanding of what it is and the different activities and the different forms of GBV. Now, next to you, Sally, before we continue our conversation here, I want to ask you one question. Then we're going to have a certain music by X Malaya. But before then, let's talk about survival. What are some of the difficulties you as a civil, like a gender expert, what are some of the difficulties you have encountered in trying to curb gender-based violence?
Some of the difficulties I encounter when being on field one, we have so many people that want to negotiate GBV cases, especially the domestic violence and rape cases. And what is really funny in this is that there are people that really know the norms of GBV. If you cannot have a collaborator saying that all of us are fighting GBV, and when it comes to a rape case, the same collaborator will tell you, no, let's negotiate this rape case. Those are the challenges, some of the challenges we are facing on field. And some of the challenges we are also facing, it comes to empowerment, economic empowerment. Most of the survivors don't have the means to take care of themselves, and for sustainability they don't have it. Especially, again, another challenge comes when we meet teenage mothers. You need to take care of the child and you need to take care of the mother. So all things, it comes to financial sustainability, economic empowerment. And the most difficult part that we know what they're facing on fee on everyone that is working on a social worker, a supervisor, etc. Most of the challenges is that people want to always negotiate rape cases, especially when it goes to community leaders such as quarterhead, chiefs, women leaders, or even when it comes to some certain police stations like police, gendarmerie, they will always tell you, let's negotiate. Can we not negotiate this thing? It don't really reach to the level of the state council. And another one that again we face as difficulties is that even when a perpetrator have been sentenced, you will still go out there and you will still see the same perpetrator will come and greet you. It make they work very, very hard.
Okay, good. That's quite. Now, on the part of the survivors, based on your experience, what are some of the challenges which they go through, or maybe they have shared with you? Because you have, amongst as an activist, you have talked about the lack of collaboration from fellow civil society organization. You also have community leaders who want to negotiate these cases without bringing the persons to book. And then you also have the some lapses in the judicial system where the perpetrators, even when proven guilty, sometimes gain their liberty without necessarily going through the punitive measures. Now, what are some of the challenges which these survivors themselves they go through?
Yes, some of the challenges that these survivors go through, we have one, fear. Okay. Many of them afraid, because imagine if I was raped and I take you to the state councils and it is on the level of the PI investigation, and you have been bailed out and you still see the perpetrator roaming around. It gives you panic. And some of them, when they have been sentenced, you see, I have some will call me, Madam, this person was sentenced, but he just called me that he's out. And you will see the girl will start, the panic, the fear is there.
That is for those who have actually spoken out.
Yes.
One of the things in our previous discussion we've had is that some of these perpetrators do not act, some of these survivors rather, find it difficult speaking out. Why? Away from the fear, what are some of the challenges? What stops them from speaking out?
I was coming to that. One of the challenges again is stigmatization. Yes, stigmatization. Most of them are afraid to be stigmatized. Okay. You can bear with me that now in our communities, when a girl have been raped, they will not call you Sally, for example. They'll say, do you know that girl that was raped in that house? Okay. When you want to get married, it gives you stigmatization to the level of you getting married and even having a close relationship. Yes, because when the man want to go to the house, they will not call you, you go now for that house, they be rape that girl. They will not say, no, you go find a Sally. They be rape that girl for that house. So you see, they are facing
stigma from society.
The societal stigmatization is really bringing, is not really good. Secondly, they face challenges when they are searching for jobs. Yes. Okay. Thirdly, it affects their personal relationship. Okay. With the man. Those are
actually the consequences of
yes.
this act. So now, Sally, let us have this musical break, which has so much meaning, and we're talking about ending gender-based violence. Let us watch carefully and listen to the message. Then we'll continue on today's edition of the show.
La petite que tu as laissée la dernière fois. Oui.
Il attendait que tout le monde s'endort pour l'entraîner ou lui se laver le secret. C'est pas normal, ces cris déchirent le silence de la nuit. C'est un secret familial, tout ce que tu aimes te haïront si tu pars. Elle a mal, elle veut s'enfuir, la douleur l'empêche de courir. Elle a mal, elle veut s'enfuir, son corps va lâcher prise, dans les larmes elle s'enlise. Il lui vole sa chair, son âme, Amina, baignera dans le sang. Amina, ne pleure pas, Amina, faut parler, Amina, ne pleure pas, Amina. Il ne faut pas me toucher, il ne faut pas m'abuser, il ne faut pas me violer. Je suis encore un enfant, laissez-moi ma dignité, laisse-moi ma virginité.
Ta fille a passé la nuit dehors. Je suis là pour ça, mon frère.
Tout le monde doit savoir, tu n'es pas la coupable de la victime.
Je demande, c'est quoi ça? C'est comme ça que tu te comportes ici? Je veux plus entendre ça. Si jamais ça se répète, moi je te renie.
Toi qui n'as rien demandé, toi qui as tout supporté, le silence devient un fardeau. Laisse ton corps parler avec ses mots. Ta souffrance n'est pas un cadeau. Oh, oh, oh. Amina, ne pleure pas. Amina, faut parler. Amina, ne pleure pas. Amina, il ne faut pas me toucher, il ne faut pas m'abuser, il ne faut pas me violer. Je suis encore un enfant, laissez-moi ma dignité, laisse-moi ma vie.
fight.
Welcome back, dear TV friend. If you're just tuning in, you're watching Women's Voice on Divine Mercy Radio Television. It is a program that comes up every Thursdays from 5 to 6 p.m. where we raise awareness on issues related to gender-based violence and also propose solutions on how best to handle them, as well as promoting good practice. Today's talking point, we'll be looking at 16 days activism against gender-based violence, and we've had its definition, the different aspects, and we're talking about the different forms and some of the challenges which survivors of GBV go through. We just have beautiful music there that actually sad on a sad note, unfortunately, but paints the picture of the reality in our societies and in our household. That is a scenario of a rape case of a child who has been raped by the uncle, but the wife is silent. The parents can't even trust her, and then sometimes they are afraid to speak out. That is why we are here on DMRTV and Women's Voice to always tell the survivors that they can always have the support and they shouldn't stay silent, because let their voices be heard. It is only in that way that they can achieve justice for what they are going through. So, Sally, I saw you nodding your head in disapproval when that music was going on, and quite painful, but that is the reality of persons who go through this vow. It must not only be rape, but even the physical abuse, the brutality, maybe the beating up which some women go through, the domestic violence and all whatnot. And sometimes because of the fear to protect the name of the family, they shut down. They don't want to speak out.
Yeah, that's true.
So in such situations, faced with such situation, what do you advise to survivors when they are faced with any form of violation?
I used to always tell the survivors that you run to any nearby police station you will see. Okay. When you reach to the police station, there is a gender desk that will handle the case. Okay. Or again, if you see any NGO, anybody that will tell you that I do work for NGO, please don't keep silence. Break out the silence. Even it is your mother that is protecting your father, if it is your uncle that is protecting the rapist, if it is your sister, if it is your brother, please look for any police station, report the case. Go to any NGO, report the case. If you see me, Sally, passing anywhere, please look anywhere and say, I am fine looking for a lady called Sally Ndape. Please.
Definitely.
Yes, you say you are looking for a lady called Sally Ndape. Please, I will reach you no matter the time. Please, we should not keep quiet, because the video is really it's painful, but it's the reality, because today many girls are being raped in their house. You understand? But the father will tell you, you want to disgrace his family name. The mother will tell you, keep quiet. The uncle will tell you, don't say anything. And that is how we keep multiplying rape cases in our society, and we keeping rapists in our community. Whereas if you report a case of rape, you have saved at least 10 persons.
All right. When you report the cases for us, I think our parishes are available. You can always meet the parish priest, or you contact the Family Life Service of the Diocese of Boya. They handle such cases, not necessarily rape, but also all forms of violations. I'm sure the priests are always in their parishes and available. And even in the different parishes, we have the different correspondents who can reach out to you, or you can also contact us here at DMRTV, and then we'll refer your cases to the appropriate quarters. Thank you so much, Sally. We go back to the 16 days activism where we've elaborated enough. Now, we have a question which sometimes you have attested here. Despite all the efforts put in place, do you think this 16 days activism has achieved, for the past years, we've been able to achieve the desired result?
No.
So what needs to be done?
what for me, what need to be done, let's go straight to the point, is that collaborators should really work in synergy, reporting all forms of violence.
All right.
Let the judicial system do its own work and make sure to also follow up. Putting somebody behind bars and you don't do follow up, it means the work have not been done.
Okay.
Thirdly, we should avoid corruption. Yes, we know everybody loves money, but nothing worth a virginity or a dignity of a woman being taken by violence. It is not something negotiable, but it is a call to everyone to stand up and to sit up. That violence in all its form is condemnable. We condemn it. We need a violence-free Cameroon. We need a Cameroon of free gender-based violence. We need a Cameroon of no to child abuse or early child marriage and child maltreatment. We need a Cameroon of peace. We need a Cameroon of love. We should put aside money. We should put aside emotions and we should do what is right. I believe if we do what is right, we will not still come out the last people in the whole world.
Yeah, with the highest case of
with the highest case of child abuse assessment.
Unfortunately, a recent report some months back had Cameroon as the worst country with lack of policies or follow-up as far as child abuse is concerned. Thank you so much, Salish. You are calling on a synergy of all stakeholders who are involved in the fight against GBV. You're calling on the different service providers like the security, the justice, and also the social workers to take up responsibility in all honesty and also protect the dignity and promote the respect of the dignity of each and every one, and also be just and fair, especially in the justice system, to handle the cases accordingly. And also society has to stop the stigmatization, and also family has to think about the well-being of the survivors and not just think of protecting the name of the family. Now, Sally, there's another video which we are going to watch, which also paints a picture of the realities of some survivors and what they should do in the face of violence. Let us have this second video. We'll be right back.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to anymore.
Ha! His fans will drag you on social media.
He said I should close my eyes and begin to pray. Then he touched me.
Ha! Blasphemy.
Daddy, please. Please. I don't want to.
Come on, keep quiet. How dare you accuse your father?
Uncle, please. Please. It's paining me.
Shh, keep quiet. How can you say your uncle did that?
He told me I know what to do if I want the role.
They will blacklist you.
Oga, I beg, madam, go kill me, I beg.
Shut up! Are you saying my husband touched your dirty, smelling body?
Uncle, I don't want the mineral and biscuit again.
Boys will always be boys.
Husband or not, he raped me.
You know, saying a man will be. Eh?
Please stop. I said stop.
But what were you wearing, Steph?
My dear, you would have to keep quiet and keep it in the family. Or else, I will not be quiet.
I am a girl child.
It is not a crime.
I will not be
be afraid. I will not shut up. I will use my voice. I will speak up. I will scream. Until the world hears me.
Rape my fight, I will fight.
Thank
Rape
you
not
so
my
much.
culture.
Thank you so much for that beautiful piece. It is also another message. It's a sensitization campaign. This was specific to the rape culture, and it is ending rape. And you had the different justifications. Sometimes the different things you are being told once you're violated upon. But again, we urge you, do not keep quiet. You have to speak up so that your world can hear your voice, and then the perpetrators are called to book. If you're just tuning in, you're watching Women's Voice on Divine Mercy Radio Television. On today's edition, we're looking at the 16 days activism, reasons why we had series of video portraying the different forms of GBV, which during these 16 days, the world is taking a pause to raise awareness and also sensitize the population and on the different forms of GBV and how we can handle them and what we need to do in order to prevent these cases. And like Sally did explain, these 16 days is to raise awareness and to reach out to persons who may not know about this in order to achieve a change and an end to the numerous cases of GBV. And like we did explain earlier on, Sally noted that despite all the efforts which civil society organizations put in place during these 16 days, the seminars, the town hall meetings, the workshops and all whatnot, we still have increasing cases of GBV. Thus, it has not been very effective. And she's also giving proposals on how we can make these days effective. Now, Sally, before we go, because we're running out of time, what are some of the activities which you think need to be done to effectively meet up the objective of these 16 days activism?
I think of more sensitization.
Okay.
More sensitization in schools.
All right.
Teachers need more empowerment on sex education.
All right.
More sensitization on young men.
Okay.
And young girls and teenage mothers. More sensitization in higher institutions as universities and private universities, colleges, etc. But looking into this, I will say more sensitization should be done in primary schools, because most our children that are in primary school are more victimized because they don't know where to go to. And we want to also pass the message that school teachers should know how they send messages on social media, and especially to bloggers that say they are counselor, because I want to say that when you are sending your message to a blogger, the blogger will not help you and the blogger will not give you good counseling, but the blogger will send your message out there. You will have many people that will insult you, that will increase your trauma. So we are saying that be careful to who you are talking to. Be careful to who you're narrating your story to, because it can cause you more harm than good. Taking into consideration that you are first of all traumatized, and taking your story to social media such as Facebook will not help the situation, because we talk GBV as it will have its own principality, and confidentiality is one of the key principles. Yeah. So I will always tell, it's a message, please, if you are listening to this, don't send your message as rape or domestic violence to bloggers. No, they will worsen the situation. They will not tell you the right step to take to amend your stories. Even you're having a domestic violence in your house, or maybe your husband want to file a divorce case, please, social media, it's not a place of solution. Please look for a place that you can confirm yourself. They will listen to you. We will listen to you and tell you what to do. Not all cases need to pass to social media and to bloggers. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Sally. You've talked about sensitization at all levels, in the homes, in the primary schools, in fact, in all spheres. What about the legal framework? Don't you think it needs to be revisited?
Yes, on a serious note, it's something that needs to. Yes, as I earlier said, that next year it is time to start involving all stakeholders.
All stakeholders.
Yes, the justice system need to at least go to some certain training, because we have noticed that if we are what Cameroon is becoming today, is because the justice system is really joking with this domestic violence cases, gender-based violence cases. It is time, and thank you that you mentioned it. I want to also say that the justice system should really look into cases of GBV, because the first thing in Cameroon is that as you first of all come with your problem, you are first served, and you claim to be the victim according to our justice system. And no matter what the gendarme or the police will write in his own investigation, not even visiting the locals, is what the court or the magistrate will take. And they don't even do the assessment on field. But you will see they have written everything. I will say, no, this case, this man have really done it without no proper investigation. And we have so many that
which adds not only to the justice system and policies put in place, but those involved in the implementation of follow-up of the justice system need training. That is the police, the gendarme, those in the state council, all of them need
serious training to curb GBV.
Thank you so much, Sally, for joining us on today's edition of the show. We'll be looking at the 16 days activism against GBV, and after our discussion we came to a conclusion with Sally that according to her experience, that 16 days activism has not been meeting up its expectation, which is to end all forms of GBV and the lapses, both from the survivors having difficulty to speak up because of stigmatization, and also the justice system, which needs to be revisited, and those in charge of implementing these policies needs to be trained to properly handle these cases and investigating them. Thank you once more if you have been watching. And also, Sally, it is on this note that we draw the cuttings of today's edition of Women's Voice. If you missed out, you have a rebroadcast coming your way on Sundays from 3:30, and you can follow us on the YouTube at DMRTV online and on Facebook at Divine Mercy Radio and TV service. We keep you in the company of more interesting programs coming up next on Divine Mercy Radio's television. Stay tuned.